How long has Amora been around for right now?
11 years.
Is it 11 years?
We're old, dude. We're old. I mean, yeah, we all started when we were like, I was 18 when the band started,
I
I
was gonna say you
think.
guys were 17. I
Tristan
was
was
like,
17.
yeah,
It's been 11 years. It's crazy to think.
yeah. But I mean, you guys really do have all original members except for the one guitarist. I can't even remember his
Yeah.
name.
And that's another feat too. It's like because you look at some bands who have been around like a very long time and they don't have any original members at all.
No.
Or like, dude, you know what's crazy? Like Circus Survive is an all original member band, and
Yeah.
they lasted as long as they did. And yeah, I'm very thankful it's still the same group of people. I do meet bands, especially like in my line of work. I meet bands who are like ghost bands of other bands, or like the
Yep.
one original member is now the manager, and
Yep.
there's a whole other band, and it's interesting. I don't know if I would like ever want to do a ghost band like that, or like look at like Chelsea Grin. I don't think they have like any. I know it's like a weird example to throw out there, and nothing at them, but they don't have any original members too. It's all kind of
Yeah.
like grandfathered in.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people are flipping out right now about Linkin Park too because
Yeah,
like they couldn't replace Chester.
you can't replace. Yeah,
Like, how do you get somebody that sings like him but also works out with all the members? Like, that's like
yeah,
people that aren't in bands don't realize that.
yeah. And people don't also realize like, dude, Chester died. Like he would have never, been replaced. I think, and at the same time, but what people also don't get is that your favorite bands play shows and they make money so that they can have a living.
Yeah,
And at
yeah,
some point, it's like, all right, do we stop this whole thing because, a member died, or do we see like what our next chapter could really be like?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, when you're a musician, you've been in a band and you've been in it for a while trying to do
Yeah.
something. You understand the ins and outs and the struggles.
Yeah. Dude, being in a band is a job. It's a
Yeah,
job. It's like that is like for those who don't know, I work at Sellersville Theater. I'm a house manager and a booking agent, and like I pay bands at the end of the day, man. I'm giving them a check at the end of every single night. Like bands aren't doing it for like I don't want to sound mean or egotistical and be like they're not doing it for charity. I mean, like they're doing it because like one, they love you guys, but two, this is how they make their income and this is how they put food on the table and stuff. And band, yeah, like this is a job for a lot of people. It's a very hard job too.
it is.
Very hard. Yeah.
It is. It's funny because like I hear people ask the cool questions like, "Why don't they just always play original music here?" I'm it's like it's not an original music venue. Like the people are like, "Your band should play
Yeah.
there." I'm like, "That's a bar. Like they don't do original
Yeah.
music." Um,
Dude, in theaters, I learned that like in theater venues like Sellersville, Keswick, or even even city wineries too. Like I just did a whole city winery tour with Asher Roth, and like one thing I realized is like a lot of theater venues only take like one band acts. Like they don't
mhm.
take like a full package. They take like one singular band and maybe they have a local opener, but you'll never really see a theater show exceed two bands. People
Really?
don't get it. It's exactly how you said, like, why don't they play all originals here? It's like, yeah, we're at a bar and they're playing in the corner, or like we're at, the TLA and they're not going to be playing like any covers because it's an all original. Like they only have 20 minutes instead of 2 hours.
Right.
It's everything kind of has its own place, I would say.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I have a friend, Chris Trapper. He was in this band called the Push Stars in the '90s.
Okay.
They're really good friends with Matchbox 20.
Dude,
Like
Matchbox 20 is so sick.
dude, like Rob Thomas covers his music. That's how good this guy
Yeah.
is. But like
Mhm.
he does, like Rob Thomas will do that where it's like theater gigs, like for like his
Yeah.
solo stuff, and like Chris
Yeah.
will just like jump in on as an opener, like all along the East Coast, whatever's easy for him. He's like, yeah, sure, I'll play
Yeah.
those.
And that's another thing too. People don't realize that like people in bands are like friends and normal people. Like,
Yeah,
dude, the other day you probably saw me post this on Instagram, but like I posted something like, "Please stop walking around the venue like trying to meet the artist when they walk to their van. They're not
uh,
gonna want to meet you." Yeah, just because like people don't get it. Artists are just normal people at the end of the day doing things. And you know what? Like, just like that story you said, man, they grew up together, they played shows together, and it's like, yo, he's great. He's a good vibe. I want to bring him on tour.
Yeah.
That's a lot of the time that's what happens.
I mean, that's kind of why they do it. It's like, oh, I'm comfortable with that person. Yeah, I could spend every day with them.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. It's really more of a
that is.
like, sure, I'll share my home with you.
Yeah.
That's really like what it is. Like, you're on the road, you're living in a van, which isn't your home.
Yeah.
Like, and you're probably living in a cubby, if at best.
Yeah.
So,
and maybe you have hotels. Maybe you have a hotel budget. Maybe you have double queen rooms and everybody's in their own bed budget, but you don't have a singular hotel room budget yet. You're almost at that level.
Yep. Yeah. My buddy Kyle tells me stories like that all the time with Creed, like, because they're like he was managing Scott Stepp before Creed, so like that was a little bit smaller. And sometimes guys are sharing a bedroom at a hotel, like a different bed, but but Creed's a different story. But
oh yeah, absolutely, dude. Well, I mean, when you're in Creed and you're making that type of money, you want all the comfort that you can get.
Yeah. I mean, they toured with every member had their own tour bus this last year.
Yep.
So he said it was like 13 big trucks. It was like that's like $500,000 a week or something like that.
Yeah, but I mean, with the money they're pulling in, dude. I mean, if they're making it right, like then good for them. I mean, it's kind of like also like the whole, Taylor Swift tour and like all that. Like people don't realize. This is maybe like my mind. I don't know. I'm not trying to like be mean or anything, but people don't realize like when they walk into the venue, they just see the magic. They don't see everything else behind the magic or like everything else that like makes the magic happen. Which I mean is honestly like it is. Like that's our job at the end of the day is to make the magic happen for you. But even when I like started to get into that world and I started seeing everything behind the scenes, it was just like blowing my mind. I was like, oh wow, this goes into that. Like people were like, oh, Taylor Swift was like 100 trucks. It's like, yeah, do you see how big that stage is?
Yeah.
That stage is getting built every single day. And they might have an A stage and a B stage, which like the A stage is doing the odd number dates, and then like the B stage is doing the like the even number dates, and then like when one show is like being broken down, the other show is being built somewhere else. Like that is so much work and so much money that like you can't really do a stadium tour without it. That's why when you look at a stadium tour and there's like for us, if we're going on a DIY tour or we're going on something smaller or like we're going on like just like a tour. A lot of time we're trying to have 0 off days. We're just trying to go because you're not making enough money to really justify having a day off. Day offs usually happen because you don't, there's like a date you can't get booked.
Right.
Arena tours have multiple days off in between because it takes a day or two to build everything that you see and to make sure it all functions and works. And then what happens after the show, they break all of that down. Yep.
And all those guys are union workers. So like that's pricey, man. They're getting paid more than a lot of musicians.
Yeah, did you know that like when you load into a venue too, like if you're doing a union venue, you are not allowed to touch your own gear, and if you touch your own gear before it's placed where it needs to be placed, you will get fined.
Really?
It's the union workers are meant to unload your gear, place it wherever it needs to go, and obviously there's stage plots and stuff like that. They build the stage,
right?
And then you can't touch anything until they're all done. And if you touch anything, like it's kind of like you're pretty much interrupting their job process, and you will get fined.
Gotcha.
Crazy.
Gotcha.
It's like it's pretty much. It's like, yo, you're saving money by chilling out and staying in your green room.
Right. Yeah. So you guys have been touring a lot the last like 2 years or so. You like far more active than in later years.
Yeah, I mean, we've been trying to like just do more of that. I mean, like Chris is starting to tour more. Like he's guitar teching. I'm getting into tour managing. Like I just did the Asher tour for like 2 weeks. And I mean, we've been trying to do like more. Our formula lately has just been like shorter runs, just because it is easier to do. It's easier to start on a high, end on a high, and like just like the overall goal you want to do is do regional stuff, and then if you want to do something bigger, you have like all these fan bases to work with instead
Right.
of, oh, we're gonna book a month and go out all over the country to all these places that we've never been to before, which is the true DIY fashion. Don't get me wrong,
Right.
but we're in our late 20s, and we can't just make, like, I remember the first time we played Atlanta, and I was like in 2015, and I was like 19 years old, and we made $5, and like we just kind of laughed it off and had the best day ever. You can't do that
Yeah.
later in life. You can't do that. And also, everybody's got like jobs and stuff now, and like unless a tour is kind of coming our way where it's like, hey, we want you to open this, and you'll be making this, this much a day, and then on top of that merch, like that's usually kind of when you start like figuring out like, all right, maybe we can make this work. But if we're doing it all of it like ourselves, it's like small runs, and then we try like opening on to like bigger shows or playing. I mean, like it's like like back in April we did, or what was it, March or April, we did like a little weekender for En and Ghost Chan, and then right like 2 weeks after that we played like the Foundry at the Fillmore. Like
For
it's kind
the
of like,
heading east festival.
yeah, that was so freaking fun. Yeah. So be able to like have a formula like that where we're just like kind of like on the move, and then like do something bigger is like always like pretty
Right.
cool. Yeah.
So, dude, like I don't know if you know this, but I've known Fred since like '99. Like he
Yeah.
basically taught lessons at Westchester Music
Yeah.
when I met him. Like he was just
Yeah.
he was in a local band. He was in what's
Other
that?
Fred? No, it was a Breaking Pangea.
Breaking
Terrible things.
Pangea, yeah.
Yeah.
So I've known him like before he was in Taking Back Sunday. I didn't really know him that well back in the '90s. I just like said hi to him at the guitar store. Like he was a familiar guy that worked there. But like, what is it like working with him in studio? Because I know how much he's done and how many years he's been at it. Like it's got to be. Was it kind of intimidating to be in a room with a guy like that, or like, are you guys pretty close with him?
Pretty close with him, dude. He's like my mentor to me.
Yeah.
Like he's like honestly like my second dad. I was literally just Color Fred played Underground Arts, and I went out to go shoot them the other day.
He's such a good dude.
I mean, I don't feel any pressure going into the studio with Fred. Maybe on the first couple days I did, but at the same time, if I'm feeling pressure to be in the studio with him, he's feeling pressure and be in the studio with us because like he cares, he cares a lot. I feel zero pressure,
Good.
It's just kind of like when I go to Fred's house, I'm like, oh, hey, Fred. And then, like, we just got, like, right to work, which is, like, really cool.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They've been putting, he's also been working really hard. Like, it's kind of cool to see the bands he's meeting up in the scene with that, like, I've known for years.
Yeah.
But they're just putting out that record label is putting out just really, they're not only signing really solid bands, but like the content that's going out is really good.
Yeah.
How much help does the label give you, or is it just a recording thing?
It's kind of like Odd Future.
Okay.
We're all like a big collective of artists that just kind of like work together and help each other out. Because like the thing is, like, heading east, like, in my perspective, like, it started when, like, we finished Cutting Teeth, and Fred was gonna, shop it out to a few people, which he did. Mm-hmm. And we did get some responses on it, but a lot of it was like, hey, it sounds really good, but we just signed, like, new bands. We can't really take all new bands right now. And he approached us with this idea. He's like, hey, I've been wanting to do this idea for a long time. I think it's time to do it. I can't, there's not much I can give. But if you're in it, we can build this together, and we can make this work, and which has been really dope. I think we made a really nice community out of like the roster that we have and the bands that we're getting, and there's a lot of bands that are reaching out to Fred now, and like I things are on the up with the label, which is really good. I mean, Fred will always help us out with recording, and like then we have like he's been able to help us get on like other shows. Like a lot of the booking is still me, and I do look for like a booking agent at some points because I'm like, I feel like I kind of hit my ceiling and I keep like going up a little bit, and I want like more outside help.
Yeah, but I'm at that point. I'm at that point with Sunblind right now. Yeah,
and I feel like you need to know yourself as an artist, which you do
Yeah.
before, like, you just give those rants to someone else. So Fred does help get us in like places that like we don't usually typically get into. It's good representation to have them. A lot of it is just like community work and effort. It's not like I have 5 million in the bank, you know.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally just moved back into my parents' house. So like that's why you see like boxes and
Dude.
shit in the back, just because apartment situations like don't work out sometimes. But
I've been telling a lot
you
of
know,
friends lately, there's no shame right now, dude.
no
Like,
shame, dude. I see my sisters do it.
yeah.
But yeah, and it's just it's a good. I'm happy that I can call Fred at like 1 a.m. and like talk about ideas.
That's
I
awesome.
really am.
Yeah, he's a good dude. He's
one of the best.
in so many ways. He's just one of the best dudes I've met. Like,
Yeah.
I've played shows with him. I've known him for 20 years. I've seen him interact with people, good people, bad people. You know, like,
yeah.
He's always a kind dude.
Yeah, Chris was guitar teching for him. I don't think anyone will mind me telling the story. I think it's kind of funny. It was guitar teching for him when Say Anything played when we were Young Fest, and he's like, "Dude, I can't even go in the public with Fred, man. The drummer of Jimmy Eat World just came up to us."
I think his name's Dave. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was just like all these like little things that like would happen, and like it happens to me too when I hang out with Fred. Like all these, or like talking to all these people. He's like, yeah, this person's that person, and then like sometimes I'm with friends, and Fred will come up, and they're like, oh, who is that? I'm like, oh, that's the former guitar player Taking Back Sunday.
Yeah.
They're like, what? I'm like, yeah, no, he produces my band.
Yeah. When the Note was open in Westchester. Dude, that's just dating me now.
Shout out Peter Rono if you're listeting to this.
Dude, that
Peter
was.
Peter used to clean the floors there.
Did he?
And cook food in the kitchen. Yep.
Oh man. I'm a Westchester guy originally.
Yeah.
And that was Bam Margera's it was
Bam and someone else's, but I know Bam was one that had people.
Bam was the money. And the publicity, it was really Don who owns a ton of stuff in Westchester, but that venue had like Thrice play there, Blues Travelers, like they had some big names, and I remember when I was there to see the Dangerous Summer,
great band by the way, great freaking band.
It was them and like Boys Meet Girls, Boys Like Girls,
played the Note. That's
crazy. Dude.
Shit.
The lead singer had his plug on tour too.
Yeah.
But they all were like, wait, that's Fred? He was, at that time, it was kind of while he was like, it was not long after he had left Taking Back Sunday. I want to say it was like 5 years after maybe. So he was still kind of in that like figuring out what to do. Like he had the color Fred, then he did Terrible Things. And like he was trying to I think he was just trying to figure out what to do with music, how to push. And, so he was like working part-time there because he knew everybody there. And it was funny because every touring band was just like talking to him to the point where the sound guy was getting pissed. He was like, leave Fred alone. Like to all the bands.
Yeah.
But it was like, that's the thing is like, he knows all the bands they listen to. Like he's so well connected in the scene. He's been in it so long. Like he knows everyone that you listen to and you won't even realize it unless, you're at a festival.
Bro, and even like, he was trying to work with a band that I know, like member-wise, and he's like, do you think they want to work with me? I don't know. I'm like, Fred, I'm like, look, I know ever says, do you know who you are?
Yeah.
I had to pull that card on him. I'm like, Fred, all I got to do is shoot a text. That's it. And it was just the funniest. I'm like, dude, you're good. You're good, bro.
Yeah. People are always like, you should hit up Fred for this. I'm like, he's getting hit up all the time. I'm only getting up for him like if I really need to talk to him about something. I'm not like wasting his time. I know people are always trying to hound him.
Oh, dude, I remember being in a studio and just like watching his text come in on the screen. I'm like, oof.
Yeah, and he's such a nice guy. He's probably learned how to say no, but like for a while he was like having a hard time saying no to people. I saw.
Oh yeah.
But
I feel like you have to go through that in order to learn how to say no. Like I've done that.
It's something I really learned in the last 2 years. But so like let's get back to Amora. We're talking a lot about Fred, but what's the favorite, like your favorite tour that you guys have done? And I don't mean the most successful. Like I mean like the tour that put the biggest smile on your face, and tell me why it did.
Actor Observer, God's Eyes, Us. We did this little weekender, and I had this idea. Because I forget how I heard this idea. Someone told me you should, like, if you really want to tour, find 4 bands from different areas or like whatever, and just all swap shows, and then boom, you have a sick tour right there. And I was
That's
like,
a
I
good
want to do
idea.
that idea. And Actor Observer's from Boston, God's Eyes is from Long Island, and we all met through each other. Like we actually all played the Fire like 3 years ago, and it was the worst show ever. And we all like Actor and God's Eyes stayed at my house, and like I knew Actor Observer for a bit, and like that's when I started to get to know God's Eyes, and I was like, thinking about it. I thought about this for a while, and I talked to my band about it before. I was like, all of us like get along so well, and we're all from different areas. Like we
Right.
can easily make this work. And we did this run after talking to the guys and trying to schedule it for like a year. We finally did this run last year. I want to say it was last year. It was we did the Yard and Ambler, and we would headline. And then we did Sand City Brewing in Long Island, and God's Eyes would headline because they're from there. And then we did O'Brien's Pub in Boston, which Actor Observer headlined. And like we all just swapped whoever show it was, we would headline. And like, dude, that shit did so good. Like every show fucking killed. We made
That's
really good
awesome.
money. Everybody made good money. But overall, like everybody's vibe was just it was like the 16 best friends anybody could have.
That's
Like
awesome.
everybody got along, everybody was just cool. Everybody was just like hanging out and getting to know each other. And because like I spent a little more time with like God's Eyes and Actor because like I booked them and
Right.
like always like kind of talking to them.
Sure.
And I'm in that world, so
Right.
to see like our whole band getting along with like other bands and like same thing, like there's like not one member was excluded,
Right.
and I thought that was like magical because you do see that sometimes where like maybe there is someone who is like a little too shy
Yeah.
or they don't know how to really get along with others, or and we're all a very welcoming group. Like if we ever
Right.
see anybody like in a group and it's like they're being quiet, we always like try to get them in.
Right.
But I think that was just that was just like every day just kicked ass. You couldn't ask for anything more on that.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Mhm.
And you did all the booking for that tour?
I did my date.
Gotcha.
I booked it at the Yard. I threw West Main and Convent on, and then
Nice.
yeah, everybody like that was also another thing too. I'm glad you brought that up because like I don't try to like complain about booking too much. It is sometimes booking is sometimes a thankless job, and it's
Sure.
it's a lot of work. It is so much work to really just make shit happen. And
I
with
know.
that, everybody just split the workflow.
Really?
And so all I had to do was focus on my date.
Oh,
And guys, I
cool.
focus on their date. Actor focus on their date. And like like once I got my stuff done, it was like vacation from there. Like it
That's
was so
awesome.
like cool. Yeah, which you don't get that all the time. So I'm happy that happened.
Yeah, dude. I'm the one that does all the booking for the band.
Yeah,
And
it's a full-time freaking job, dude.
yeah, and then everybody in the band, like literally 2 days before the day of, are like, "Do we have this at this? Do we have this at this?" I'm like, guys, these are questions you should have asked 3 weeks ago. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is a day of. I can't. Whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, because like there's booking the show, but then there's advancing the show, and nobody knows that process. And
Right.
there's a lot of people that like we don't really have advancing. We have group chats about shows, But yeah, now we're getting to a point where it's like, all right, we got to make sure all of this is like squared away when we get there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. What's the have you guys had any like crazy breakdowns with like your vehicle or anything, any crazy tour stories like that?
I think.
Oh, you're lucky, man. You're lucky. You have to
But
think
wait,
of that.
no, I was just thinking. I was getting off scot free. In 2016, we did like 2.5 weeks. I'm pretty sure it was like 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks of Above the Mendoza. And I remember
Yeah.
they bought this van. They bought this van, and I love this freaking van. I work in probability a lot. So the door, I would say 3 out of 10 times would get stuck. on like it would get stuck and it wouldn't open, and you would have to like go out and like hit it with a wrench. And 1 out of 2 times it would like or 1 out of 10 times it would nearly fall off. Like I remember they pulled up to Brian's house and opened the door, and the door fell off. It was the first day. I don't think, and then Brian didn't really know him at the. I think actually no, I'm pretty sure like we all were like knew each other. I'm it wasn't like some strange pull. Yeah, we're gonna go on tour, and the door
Right.
falls off. It was like we had some chemistry
Right.
at that time. I remember being in like fucking. Oh, also the driver's side window didn't go down. The passenger window did.
I had a van like
And
that too.
there was no AC, so it was all rotating air. So, and there's like, we shared it with them. So there's about 13 of us, 14 of us in this van. And
Yeah.
it was like, as soon as like we stopped somewhere, it was every man for themselves because, you know, one door's working, one door's not working, this door's stuck, the back door, it's gonna get really hot really quickly. It was a summer tour.
Ooh.
I remember being in I think like nowhere, Kentucky, I don't know, like it was like we were somewhere and the door just like fell off and there was nothing. It's perfect. You would think it felt like the desert. It was more like the flats, but
Okay.
it wasn't the desert, but it was just like, this is absolutely everything I was told it would be.
Did you guys get any of that on camera at all?
There's like some pictures. Katya was with us, so
I was gonna say that's social
I know
media
she has like
gold.
a few photos of that somewhere down in like the archives. I gotta find them.
So, what would you say is your favorite local Philadelphia area venue that you guys have played?
Dude, local Philadelphia area event. I mean, I'm wearing an Underground Arts hoodie. Actually, I think I've been like really loving Underground Arts. We've played there a few times.
Yeah.
I know a lot of the people there, and like it's a really cozy venue once you like kind of get like really involved. And like, I don't know, I just love the vibe of Underground Arts. Like even like when I was at the show with like Fred, and it was like Color Fred, Scaring Kids, and like Ecstatic Lullaby, and just like
Yeah.
I've been in that green room so many times that like it feels like cozy and like it's like feels like a home to me. Like it's a really, they do take care of their artists really well that play there. And I always just like when I go to Underground Arts, I feel very comfortable and I'm having like a good time. A runner up too, I've been liking a lot. Johnny Brenda's. I've seen a few shows there. It's such a I like walked in there to see, I think it was like Into It Over It, and I've never been there before. I'm like, why have I slept on this venue for this so long? Like,
it's an interesting venue.
Yeah, dude. It's, you have like your little like, upstairs. You got like the stage is cool. Oh, and I even saw like actually was Into It Over Asher Roth was like one of my first times like being there, and I was just like, oh, this is sick, dude. Like this small room, like this is like, when I saw the Asher show there, like I don't see too many hip hop shows, and I've been like making more of an effort to do that just because I do love hip hop. But like, dude, everybody's just packed in there having fun. Like the vibe is just like, I feel like the venue has a lot to do with the vibe of the people, and like everybody is just like, anytime I've been there, man, everybody's just like having a great time.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and it's just like, it's a sneaky little spot, like, you don't really realize it's there, and I always loved venues like that. Like big rooms are cool, don't get me wrong, and I mean, like I don't know. I mean, we played the Foundry and like that was cool, but it doesn't have the same charm as like JB's or like Underground Arts or trying to think. Voltage Lounge forever though. I will have to say Voltage Lounge forever.
Ooh.
Yeah,
dude. That's right next to the Electric Factory, right?
Yeah, and it's now Doom Bar. It's like a heavy metal. It's actually cool. I will say I do like. I know a lot of the lore that I should not say on here about like, Voltage Lounge going down and like, like the landlord stuff and all that. But if it had to be anything, I'm happy it's Doom Bar. I'm happy that it's still like music related and that it's in the hands of good people. And, it's like, I'm happy that, out of all the things it could have been, it's Doom Bar.
Okay. Yeah. I saw, were you at the show back in... Man, what year was that? It was Slaves and Movements was opening on that tour.
No, I wasn't.
Dude, all your friends were. Like, everybody from the Lansdale scene. I want to say there were a couple bands that I know I saw you guys play with that were opening for them, because it was like 3 local openers. That was the night that, what's his name? The singer that they kicked him out, like, right after that show, basically. Johnny,
Oh.
the MacBook guy that... guy everybody that sold the stolen MacBook or whatever.
What's his Johnny Melrose Craig?
Yeah, Johnny Craig. Yeah, Johnny Craig was. Dude, first of all, like, you would think his lyrics are about our love songs, but it's about his love for heroin. Like, but the reason why I met the guys from like Movements, and I think Fit for a King was on that, and like Color and Outline or what?
Outline and Color.
Outline and Color. They all messaged me after that show. They were just like, "Do you know where Johnny's at?" Like, they're like, nobody.
I think I remember you telling me this story like a long time ago.
Nobody on the tour had a clue where he was, and I was like, there was a dude in the crowd that said he brought a gift for him. I'm like, I guarantee he's in some shithole house right now, like dropping, doing heroin or something like that. And sure enough, I forget who the promoter was. He called me at the end of the night. He was like, "Yeah, we found him."
Oh, was it? I think it was Anthony Cabrera. Probably Anthony. I think Anthony like that.
It was Anthony.
I remember this story.
Anthony and Pat.
Pat Shively, my boy.
Yes, it was Pat Shively. Yeah.
Boy. Oh, dude, Pat.
He's a good dude.
Man, Pat is one of my favorite people on this planet. I haven't talked to him in a while, but my God, he's one of my favorite people.
Is he still in the scene? Is he still in booking or?
Nah, he's not. He got out of that. Like when they booked Every Time I Die at Planet Trog, that was like Pat's swan song.
Planet Trog. Oh man.
Dude, you know what's funny? It was Every Time I Die. Knocked Loose couldn't make that date, but like they did a co-headliner together. It was the Low Teen Stores. Every Time I Die, Harm's Way, and Eternal Sleep. It was at Planet Trog, out of all places. Like I was like when I was like, "You guys got this?" Like, "Oh yeah, we did."
we played with Bunny the Bear twice. The first time was there.
Yeah.
They were a weird band.
I never listened to them or like talked to them or really. I got into them.
It was like weird music. They were good guys. They were nice.
Yeah,
they were really nice.
I heard that they're nothing but nice guys.
Yeah. Although I think that band really is just the lead screamer though.
Yeah.
I think it's now him and his girlfriend, and then when he goes and books like a weekend show like in Canada and basically books all the musicians.
Yeah.
It's very much like a throw together. It's not how I would do it. They're like practicing before the shows, like on the stage. I'm like, oof. I'm like, that's not what I would do.
Just like what we said earlier, man, it's a job, dude. People will do that. They will hire musicians, and that's how they do it. They're like, learn this music and then come play. It's so. I'm like, really? I was told to make a band of my best friends and get in the van and tour, and now I realize I'm like, dang, you can just hire people.
It was
crazy.
It was interesting, the people he had on the stage too. Half of them didn't look like they were musicians.
Yeah.
Like one guy looked like he worked in a basement doing IT. It was really interesting. But they were good.
Yeah.
They were good.
Yeah. Oh wait, one more venue I want to bring up because my gears are spinning. The Barbary absolutely will always be one of my favorite venues. I know it's like more like a black box like club now, and it's like very much like they've renovated it, but it's mainly for like DJs, and it does look super cool. I will say, but there was something special about the Barbary of just being like, I don't know, this. I love small nightclubs. Those are like my favorite types of venues. Like they're also Kung Fu Necktie kicks ass. I love Kung Fu Necktie.
Dude, I love Kung Fu Necktie.
Dude, Kung Fu Necktie is so dope.
I didn't want to interrupt you earlier, but I was at Underground Arts when I want to say it was like 2020, 2016, 2017. Me Without You played down there. And I went to college with those dudes. Like I've known them since.
Dude, Me Without You is so amazing.
Yeah. So like I knew them when they were the Operation, which the bass player I'm blanking on his name. It was the lead singer of the Operation. But I hung out in the green room. Was really cool. It is very cozy because it's a basement.
Were you in did you have the whole green room? Like, did you have like the
I,
big room and the small room over
I just
here?
popped. It was a bigger room. I just popped in and said, "Hey guys, like it's a home show." So
Yeah.
they have like all their family there, all the people
Oh
from
yeah, they have like the
college.
friends and family room, and then they
Yeah, so
have like
yeah,
the
so
other bands
I
room.
just wanted to stop in and say, "Hey guys, just want to say hi. I'm out in the crowd. I'll see you out afterwards." Like,
Dude, we're man, we're so spoiled, man. Like the two times we played there, Fred, we had like like the small room was like our main room, but then the common
mm,
area anybody can go in. But you know, it's more so for other bands. But I remember like I gave myself whiplash, and I just like laid on the couch while Fred played for like a few songs because like I
really,
was just like ow. And then we played Sad and Bougie at Underground Arts with like Hello Goodbye, and we had the small room, and I was like oh no, and I'm like I had to call up like the promoter. I was like, hey. Molly, I need a green tea. Can you get me some from the other room? She's like, yes, I got you. I'm like, sweet, thank you. Fucking Underground Arts, love it. Also, Milk Boy's another good one too. I don't know. I love all the small Philly rooms. You know, I don't know. I just do. I love small nightclubs that just like I don't know. They're just fun.
yeah. Philly does have some really. I mean, you kind of have
Philly's
to.
got yeah, Philly's got a great scene
You
in venues.
you have to. I don't book us down there. Cause I mean, I should. I have enough friends that are in bands that have draw, but like you have to draw. Like you can't
Yeah,
just like go and play just because you want to play.
yeah.
And like,
Nah, you gotta yeah.
but they do have like, yeah, all those venues you mentioned are like some of my favorite in Philly. Like Kung Fu
Yeah.
Necktie. My friend from high school, she lived literally a block or two away from there. So like, I would go and stay at her place, and we would just get drunk and go see whoever played at Kung Fu Necktie. It's always a
Yeah,
blast.
and you know, that's what I realized that vibe is down there because
Hmm.
like dude, I will say I'm very thankful that the two times we played Kung Fu Next Side, did we play it three times? Maybe I think we played it like two, maybe three. I don't know. I'm gonna say two just because I remember two shows. Dude, we played two like sold out shows at Kung Fu Necktie, but we were like
Really,
opening for others, you know,
gotcha.
like and I also realized like a lot of people like in that neighborhood come out to Kung Fu Necktie just to like see whatever. Like that neighborhood's popping. And
Yeah.
even if you're having like some people like that, like we were playing with one band. I remember everybody was singing the headliners' lyrics and all, and they're from out of state. So I'm like, okay, they definitely pull, but like,
Right.
and some of these people were like in the back, like they never, you know, they don't never even heard of any of these bands
Yeah.
before, you know, and I think that's what's so cool about there. But I've also heard of people playing like five people there, you know, and you just gotta
Yep.
hop on the right shows. You can't just play there for the sake of playing, or you gotta like find a show that you really fit and you can like you can be. I always say this: if I can picture my band's name on the flyer, I go for it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mentioned this when I had Dave Heck on, but
Dave.
I went to see it's Greg, the bass player from Me Without You.
Yeah,
He has like a side project band. I guess it's his full time band now. But this was I think I was still married when I went to see him play. Yeah, I was still married. But the opener that was on tour was Desert Noises.
okay.
I don't know if you know them.
Never heard of them.
They performed on Audio Tree. That's why I asked, because like they're not
Yeah,
huge, but like they've like done some
they
stuff.
got some steam.
Yeah, and they were the opener. Everybody always like they were like, ah, we'll get there after the opener. That's what most people
Yeah,
their attitude. I'm like, no, I want to see. I'm paying to see this concert. I want to see it.
yeah.
And dude, they were my favorite band. They were amazing. They were like this ambient rock band from like Utah.
I love ambient rock
Yeah,
bands. I
dude,
love them so much.
look up their music. You'll love it. It's like Desert Noises. It kind of sounds like their music. It's just a
Mhm.
very weird, not weird, but like ambient rock band. They're really good. But yeah, that's like one of my favorite memories of Kung Fu Necktie was seeing them, and then like 2 years later they were on Audio Tree.
Yeah,
I was like, oh shit, that's them. Like, but yeah, Philly has a great scene. It's just not. Philadelphia's never been big on rock.
it's always like it's big on like the in betweens though. I
It
feel like
is. It is. It
yeah,
is. It's not like I remember having my uncle's friends talking about like concerts in the 80s and the early 90s down at the shore
yeah,
around Philly. And it's like those were I mean, it was before we had these in our pockets, you know, like
yeah,
it was just like that was your entertainment. You went to a show.
yeah.
What What advice would you give any local bands that are looking to like cut their teeth and get out there and do what you guys are doing?
Cut their teeth. I love that. Cut their teeth. Cutting teeth. Sorry. Hasn't let me. What advice would I give, man? I don't know. It is how do you give? Because it's almost like it's like, man, what advice would I give to younger me? You know, because like you and I have been doing this for so long that like we're at a whole other point in our lives where like we can't really go backwards. We can
Yeah.
only go forwards. But I mean, I don't know. I almost want to ask other people what advice they can give to me, man. Like I see like my friend Chris as a Nomad Supply in Doyle Sound, and like sorry to like totally sidetrack your question,
No,
but
go ahead.
dude, he throws like all these shows, and sadly the place is closing. But like, I remember going to a show there. I knew none of the bands, and they're all like kids, and like the whole room is packed with
Yep.
people that don't like, because like you and I will go to a show and we know people there just because like we're in the scene and all that. But yo, I knew nobody here,
Yeah.
and it was a packed room, and I'm like, dang, some of these kids, this is probably like their first show ever,
Yep.
if not like they're just starting to get into it. And I'm seeing a whole new generation like come in and really take it by storm. If I had to give advice to anybody, it's mainly what I would say is this, like, you have to almost treat your band like a business. Like
Yeah.
I just, dude, I just did like Asher's tour,
Mm-hmm.
like tour managing, and like that was an eye-opening experience, man. Like, before I even did the tour, we were doing, we were working on it for like a couple months, and like, it's like I have this like spreadsheet where it's like everything that's coming in money wise, and then like, like van rental, hotels, gas, like all this stuff, and you're seeing like everything go from like how much you're grossing to how much you're netting, and it's I would say if you're really trying to do the band thing, definitely develop a business mindset. Now don't let it take over. I think you should have like 50-50. Like,
Right.
I play in a band and it's fun, and like I love music. I've been 50% like, all right, we really need to make sure this thing works, because a lot of people don't do that, and there's only so long you can like really hit up people and be like, yeah, we'll play your show. Just give us like whatever. We don't care. Just give us gas money. Like, you
Yeah.
can do that, and like that still works. But at some point, you have to, you know, you just gotta. It's it. If your band isn't making money and like the shows aren't doing well, you do get to a point where like morale goes
Yeah.
down,
Oh yeah.
and you have to, because everybody's taking money out of their own pockets, and maxing out whatever credit cards to do whatever fix, and
Right.
it's like that's when like the band starts shaking up. So to have squad harmony perfectly, just treat your band like a business. If you don't really know it yet, you'll get there. Don't be afraid to get into that world if that's what you want to do, and your band will be a lot more sustainable if you can kind of just develop like a few different things. Also, working in a venue, I think, has taught me so much about the real world when it comes to music, like everything behind the smoke and mirrors, and
Yeah.
everything when it comes to like logistics, and like what it takes to really make something work. So I would say if you can get a job in, music, or like work part-time at a venue, or like do something like that. Cause like, I don't want to say go work full-time at a venue, cause I do. And like, as
Right.
much as I love it, I do get burnout a lot. And I have
Sure.
to like, my life period now is trying to manage all of that between the bands and like touring and like working in a venue and just constantly being in, like, dude, last night I freaking played Xbox. It was awesome. Total normal. I don't ever get to do that, and I do that, and like I don't know, I just played Xbox, and I was like playing like Resident Evil, and I was just
Nice.
like, man, I'm so stoked right now. I'm not doing anything. So yeah, my big advice would learn, put yourself in the rooms of people you want to learn from. I don't want to be the smartest person in the room. I want to be the dumbest person when I walk into the room every single time. And I want to be surrounded by those who are going to teach, or who are going to show me the way. And there's
Oh yeah.
plenty of things you can do with that.
Oh yeah.
Actually, if I can, I don't know if it's still a thing, because like in, let me see. I think it's all right. There's this website. I'm gonna plug them. It's not. I'm not getting paid to do this,
Sure.
but I did this. It's called Sonic Education.
Mm-hmm.
My friend, he's actually the manager. He's the tour manager. What does he do for Beartooth now? He does. When I met him, he was just like lights for Beartooth, and then like now he is tour manager front of house. I want to say.
Okay.
His name's Danny Harvey.
Mm.
He made this website in the pandemic, and this actually taught me a lot. Um, it it's one-on-one Zoom calls with like people in the industry, like Cam Burchell, who now tour manages Pierce the Veil, but he tour managed like Beartooth. I
Okay.
was doing sessions with him every single week, and we developed a really awesome friendship from
Really?
there. Yeah, and just like on like tour managing and all the things that go into it, and then like even when Beartooth would come around, like he would bring me out and like maybe show me a thing or two, and
That's cool.
it was hard to show me more just because it's a pandemic, and even at the at
Yeah.
that time, I was like, hey, you can have guests, but we can't let them backstage or anything like that.
Yep.
So and I think it's great because like dude, in the pandemic I was just going on like once a week with Cam and just like learning, and then I'll do stuff with Danny and a few others on there, and then I'll go see them in person, or like we'll all help each. Like there was one time where we were gonna play with Being as an Ocean before we actually played with them, and Danny manages them, and I remember they were looking for an opener for their Philly show because like Thousand Below had to drop, and then like I reached out to Danny, who made it all happen,
Mm-hmm.
and that's all because like I went, I just got to know him like over time,
Right.
and it's one-on-one Zoom calls, and like they're not expensive, which is cool. Like they're pretty affordable. And if you have the extra money or you have like a little bit, you can like I believe knowledge is power, and
Sure.
it's worth investing in yourself to really learn and grow. Actually, dude, it was a cool moment. I was in Chicago with Asher, and I remember texting Cam like, "Hey, this is what I'm doing right now. I just want to say like thank you for everything that you've done for me, because I'm here doing it." And we were stoked. We were talking for a bit. So, yeah, Sonic Education definitely. If you're a younger band and you're listening to this, get on that website and just learn from people who are actually doing the things you want to do.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. During the it's funny you said. I'm glad you put that out there because when the pandemic hit, I was living in Phoenixville.
Yeah.
Stuck in a house with. I was living with Eric at the time.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I was the one that called him out in town. Like,
Yeah.
I was the monster that pushed all that out into the open, and like I was just depressed. Like it was the pandemic, and somebody said that to me. They're like, take this time to like learn whatever you want. Like you're trapped in a house, and that was the thing. Was I just started talking to like business owners that I thought were really good guys. Like, I started like not interviewing. I probably should have done a podcast like this with them, asking them questions. But it was like I started learning like editing programs and like just like started working on new stuff. And it really. I mean, I would say that's probably one of the things on the list of 5 to 10 things that got me through that pandemic.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, man, it's good to learn. It's good to learn, and I'm glad that's how you did it, because like I can't, dude. So many. Dude, I still remember like the feeling of I don't know if I'm ever gonna play a show again. I remember like having that, and I know you definitely had that, and just even like your situations, like I don't know what is going on from here. It's the biggest, longest 2 years of disbelief ever.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I just want I kind of want to end this segment on asking you about the EP you guys just released.
Yeah.
So first of all, like Nothing Here Feels Real. What inspired that title? What?
Yo, that's a Tristan question. I forget the exact story behind it, because we were just kind of coming up with names, and Tristan just had this, and he pulled it out. We're all just like, yo, that's hard.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, but I think a lot of it, I don't know the typical backstory, but I feel like a lot of the EP is about change, like the last time's about like heartbreak, Sacraments is about like the political state, Blink of an Eye is about comparing yourself to others, and like, like the dark side of, I don't want to say the dark side of the industry, because like we did make the song so it felt more accessible, but first when I started writing that song, it was about like the dark side of like the music industry. And then and then Harrigan's is like about losing, like falling out with a friend over drugs, and like it's a lot of change, and when change happens a lot, it does feel like nothing here feels real,
Yeah.
and it was like when you said that, I was like, dude, that clicked.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
How was it? Did you guys actually on the last song Harrigan?
Yeah,
Harrigan's?
Harrigan's. Yeah, it's the name of a bar.
Okay. Were you guys actually in the studio with Alito for that, or did she record separately?
Yeah, so actually it was cool because like she
She
was
makes some really cool tunes.
yeah, it was awesome, man. Like I have this joke at Fred's house. There's always someone hanging out in the dining room, specifically the dining room, and
Okay.
it was like I don't know. We were at Fred's until like past midnight one time, and I remember like we were like because some of the songs like fully finished in the studio, like they fully came
Sure.
together like in the
Yeah.
studio, and like you know we were working on Harrigan's, and I was just like I think I went to the bathroom. I went to the bathroom and I was like walking out. And I bumped into Lily, and then I just had this thought. I'm like, you know, Lily sings and she's great at it.
Yeah.
Why don't we have her on the song? And I was like, hey, should we have Lily on the song? I think she would do great on. She's here.
Yeah.
Like, might as well. Like, we don't have any guest spots on the record. Like, let's do it. And then everyone's like, yeah. I'm like, hey, Lily, do you want to do you want to hop on this song? And she was very stoked. And she spent the next 2 hours, like, Tristan gave her the lyrics. She went up to her room, learned it, came down, and just did it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's I love that you guys did that collaboration because that's like one of the things I want to say.
Yeah.
2003. I basically it was like I had like 2 members for the band, and they were in other bands. So like they left, and I was busy with work and trying to figure out what to do with Sunblind and that.
Yeah.
And I wasn't ready to like throw in the towel, but I need to like figure out what works. And,
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's like I was like I want to start doing collaborations with people, and that's something like hip hop does a great job at. R&B, like, dude, like the collaborations, like, dude, look, like that's how Little Dicky got big.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and that's the thing is like I'm starting to see it a lot more now in like the emo like hardcore scene, but like why not have your friend like do vocal like there should be a lot more collaborations there than there are in the local scene.
Yeah,
So,
do you notice now too that emo's starting to do the hip hop thing where like, okay, so say it's like, I don't know, Lil Wayne and like T-Pain, both are going to be on the track, and now instead of featuring Patrick Miranda of Movements, it's featuring Movements, and then they have the artist related to the track. So when it goes on to like streaming services, it goes to both platforms, and then it goes to both fan bases, and then both bands grow.
Yeah, dude.
Like genius.
Yeah.
Genius.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing Sunblind songs, doing them with this guy Joe Kenny, who's in like 6 different bands. Amazing piano player, and he just does a piano version of our stuff. Like, and we record it right in here. Like I've got this full studio room. I just set up the equipment, set up 2 cameras, and it's a live version. It's like anyone could do it. They just gotta do the work.
Yeah, someone told me this one day, and like closed mouths don't get fed. You just gotta ask. You gotta be like, hey, let's do it. Like I forget why we put Greg on Seasons Colder, like Greg from Actors there. I don't remember. I think we like needed something for the song. We're just like, it'd be cool to have like a guest spot. Like, who should we get? I'm like, all right, Greg could be a cool idea. Or I don't know. I don't know if it was me who said it. I don't know. One of us said it, then it was like, hey, Greg, do you want to hop on the song? Because he's not gonna know we're recording a song unless I ask him about it. And boom, fucking Seasons Colder is like awesome. Like, you should ask more to people about like, hey, let's collab, let's work on something. Also, it's just fresh and fun.
Yeah,
it's fresh and fun.
It's also a little tip if like. AJ from the Dangerous Summer is only $400 to book him to do a collab on a song.
Really? Wow.
Dude, even
hey, AJ,
Anthony Green was doing it for a while.
Email later, dude. Your voice is great.
Dude, like honestly, you should like if you got 4 people in a band, that's $50 a person. Like, you're gonna get
recording budget. That's nothing.
You're gonna make money from having them collab on your song. Like, you're gonna make at least what you pay them.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I love that you guys collaborated with Lily.
Also, oh wait. Yo, we have this thing. We have this thing that we do because like you just mentioned this and it just reminded me. We have this thing where we don't have Fred collab on our stuff. Fred is actually there was like a couple songs on Cutting Teeth that weren't like ready at the time, and like Fred actually did bass on a couple tracks. He helped out with that, and that's kind of like funny to us because it's like we're gonna do everything that isn't having Fred on our song. It's like it's easy to record a friend and be like, "Hey Fred, can you hop in?"
Right.
And like he'll say yes.
Yeah.
He'll do it. But like we were like, no, we're not gonna have that. We're gonna have everything around Fred that's not Fred.
That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Like or like, hey Fred, we're gonna have your daughter sing on one of our songs. We're not gonna have you. We're gonna have your daughter.
that's funny.
Yeah.
What do you think she's gonna take over his studio at some point? Do you think that's gonna be a like a down the line like family like? I've been watching Yellowstone lately. So that's why I'm thinking like.
I don't know, man. I mean, it's a little early because like, dude, I think she's 22 now, like just turned like so. That's a whole that's a lot to think about. But I mean, it could happen.
I mean,
I wouldn't be surprised if she did. Like, but
I mean, she knows how to record. I think she uses that studio for her stuff.
yeah, but I'm pretty sure like Fred, like her dad, like helps her with that too. So
He doesn't. He doesn't.
he doesn't.
I've had the conversation with him. She's probably better about it now because she's older. But like when she was like, I want to say like 18 and started doing this stuff, he goes, I help her as much as she lets me. It was kind of like one of those like, I'll do what you need, hon. But you know, like
Lily is very creative and she has a very she knows what she wants, which is cool.
Well,
like I noticed that about her, where like she knows, and if she knows, she'll get there. It's like I have horrible ADHD, but when I hyperfocus, I know how to get there.
Right.
And I think I don't know if I would say she has horrible ADHD, but oh man, if I can be her when she hyperfocuses, I'm like, give it to me.
Yeah.
How you do whatever you do, I want it.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what I mean. We only talked about it for like 5 minutes, me and Fred, but it was like it was kind of like that's kind of what I got from him. Like she knew what she knew how to do what she needed to do to make the song happen. Yeah, and he was just like, if you need help, I'm here. Like, yeah, you know, I'm sure he did the mixing and mastering. I don't think she probably isn't big on that, but yeah, I wonder. That'll be a question when I have him on. It might be something he's already thought about. I mean,
yeah, it would be funny.
I mean, it makes sense.
I didn't grow up with a dad that had a recording studio, so I'm like, oh, I wonder what it would be like to pass the studio down one day.
but also, like we mentioned, Fred doesn't only have a studio. Like he's a legend.
He's a legend.
Like
an absolute legend.
Like just his name alone, like she could do something.
Yeah.
She could make it bigger. She could make it how she wants, or she might not want to do it at all. Who knows?
Yeah.
But
I will say for like Fred though, man, like Fred is one person that like no matter like what big bands he does or anything like that, like he still like will play small shows and he'll still do like the thing. Like, dude, I remember seeing him play like I don't know. I feel like I saw him play like a small show somewhere, and then I'm like to maybe like 50 people, and then I'm seeing him play like the Fillmore. Like a few weeks later, it's like 3,000, and then like it's just like funny. Or actually no, it was the reverse. It was like him playing like the Fillmore main stage, and then us doing like Heading East Fest like right after, and I'm just like, it's so funny to see you like in your like when you're like in front of like thousands of people, and then like here you are still doing the thing in front of like a few hundred. Like it's just I don't know, dude. He's great.
He is. He's just like he's definitely one of the nicest, chillest guys I've met. Not even like musicians, just period.
Yeah. Just
a very kind guy.
Oh, absolutely, man. I forget he's even in bands. Like he's just like that kind of a person.
Yeah. He's a person I would not want to know, even if he wasn't a big musician.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And he'll talk to anyone too, man. You bring if you're around people and like you bump into him somewhere, like he'll talk to everybody.
Yeah. I was with him. Well, I wasn't with him. He was. We went to see. It's Rob Schneider. I don't know if you know Rob. He was a Westchester musician, but he moved to Nashville, and now he's
Bob or Rob Schneider? Rob Schneider is like the actor. Bob Schneider is the musician.
Bob. I guess he does go by Bob. Yeah.
Okay, because Bob has played Sellersville Theater a couple times, and one time I had Eric from Floorbird open for him.
Yeah.
But I also know that because it's like anytime you said Bob Schneider, everyone's like Rob Schneider. I'm like, no, Bob Schneider. They're like Bob Schneider. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. He's originally a Westchester boy. Him and Vinny
Yeah.
Palazzi. I forget how you pronounce his name. And like Alex Sadek all moved down to Nashville.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Nashville's a cool place.
Dude, they're all like they're doing big. Like, I mean, not huge, but they're like making money. They're working.
I mean, like, dude, all those guys, like, I mean, I remember on the City Winery Ash tour, like, Bob, like, we were kind of following the coattails of Bob's tour because, like, anywhere we would go, Bob would be there like 2 days later. So,
right.
I mean, and City Wine, if you're playing City Wineries and like, you're doing like an all City Winery tour, like you're doing solid for yourself.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
like. We don't just take anybody, and especially after seeing Bob at like Sellersville Theater, it's like, he's got people that love him.
Yeah.
He's got a good fan base. I gotta say.
Well, he wrote. Was it like Luke Combs' last album? It was like 3 or 4 of the big hits on that album.
Yeah, probably.
It was. I want to say it was Luke Combs. It was one of the big country artists. Like this album that came out like 2 years ago, and it was like. I remember Alex Sadek was like, "Oh yeah, like all those big hits that he's had from the album are written by him."
Yeah,
it's impressive. It's
Mm-hmm.
It's funny seeing these guys that aren't as big as the artists they write the songs for, but they're making the money from it.
You know what? I worked for JD Souther, and I only worked for him once, and I had the best day with him. Sadly, he passed away like right after I worked for him because he was just older. But he wrote for the Eagles a lot. Like he wrote "Heartache Tonight," "New Kid in Town," or like "New Kid on the Block," whatever that song is, and like he wrote some of their biggest hits, and they offered him to be in the band once. He's like, dude, no, you guys are 2 guitarists, right? We're not doing a 3-guitar band. Are you kidding me? And like, people would be like, so like you write all these hits for the Eagles, like why don't you want to be in the band? Don't you feel bad? He's like, do you want to see my paychecks? Do you want to see the money I make?
And he's not having to like load in, load out every day.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, and exactly, dude. He did stuff for his like solo stuff, but like he was just like, nah, I just didn't want all that, like,
right.
And it wasn't like he would write the song and give it to like the band. I mean, like he would have it, but then he would get together and jam it. He was an unofficial member of the band. Like, he would go to practice. He played some shows with them. Like even he was telling me that like when they were doing their like last their last shows in like wherever the Kia Forum is, I think like Los Angeles, that, they brought him on stage, they paid him double his rate, and like they brought him on for a few songs and he was like happy,
Right.
Yeah, so like, it's not just write song, give song. It's, I mean, like for some people it is, but yeah, dude, sometimes people just are like, yeah, I like writing songs. If this band wants it, I'm going to be set for life.
Yeah.
I don't need my name attached to it.
Yeah. I think one of my favorite bands is Further Seems Forever.
And great band, dude. I haven't listened to that band in a minute.
And I think they have like a third guitarist that doesn't tour with them. Same deal.
Yeah.
Like he just like he records with them, and like I guess they have like 3 guitar parts on some of their stuff.
Yeah.
And then like 2 other people tour with him.
Yeah.
Although he might be touring with them now. They do like little things here and there.
Yeah, or like, dude, Will Putney plays in like Fit for an Autopsy, and like Fit for an Autopsy, and like a couple other bands, I think, Better Lovers. But he doesn't have time to like do all that because like Will Putney is probably like the hottest metal producer right now,
Okay.
But like, he doesn't tour with Fit for an Autopsy. He helps like write and like do all that type of stuff. He's still promoting the tour. He's still doing all that. He just doesn't tour with them. And then like if Better Lovers or like, I don't know his whole thing. I don't really know. I don't know him personally at all. But I just from his work ethic, I see like he makes touring work if it can work for him. But like that dude is producing like everything metal wise, like right
Really?
now. So like, and that's just it. Sometimes like you can be in a band, you don't have to be everything about it. Like I
Yeah.
said, like we said, it's a job.
Yeah.
So hey, if you're doing your job at the end of the day, like so be it, dude. I know people that like they have members that can't tour, and then like when
Yeah.
it comes to touring, they have fill-ins, and it's just like that's just how it is.
Yeah. You know the band Mute Math?
I do not know.
So they had, I want to say the song Spotlight was on like the Twilight movies or something like that.
Yeah.
He was originally in this like Christian hip hop reggae rap band in the
Yeah.
late 90s. He was good. He rapped. He Mew Meth was really good. They did a couple albums. They have a really good following. And then like everybody started getting married, and like
Yeah.
the drummer married the lady from Isley, and so they start kind of going their own ways. He didn't know what he was going to do. He became really good friends with a guy named Tyler from 21 Pilots and produced all their stuff.
Yeah.
And now that's what Paul does. Yeah, I think he's doing the I Prevail record. Like
Yeah.
he just like he talked about how he almost threw his towel in on music cuz like he wasn't going to play out anymore, and then he just started working with 21 Pilots producing their stuff, and now that's all he does. It's really interesting to see guys like that where how like they almost come close to just disappearing, and then they just go to like from here to
Yeah.
here.
I fully believe that like if you're passionate about something, you will get it no matter what. It's just like but it's just that no one knows like the whole like ups and downs or where to go or where to
Yeah,
this and that. I'm happy, and I'm happy that story worked out because it's like that's like not giving up on yourself. It's
yeah,
because dude, those things do happen, man. I mean, like
yeah.
like
We're
Amora's not.
musicians, dude. Musicians are really good at giving up on themselves.
Yeah, and dude, like life changes for everybody. I mean, like, bro, look at Amora. I mean, like, we've been doing it for 11 years, and like, but it's we do notice our lives change, and we always gotta like kind of check in on stuff like that. Like, um, life changes, and as long as you still want to do the same thing you're doing, maybe you have to change a lane or two. But other than that, like, you just can't give up on yourself. You have to be
Yeah,
like, all right, well, what can I do? What can I do? And sometimes, dude, you don't know, man. I mean,
yeah,
like, I know I keep mentioning the Asher tour, but like, bro, I've always been a fan of Asher for so long, and we met through a mutual friend. But like, the mutual friend wasn't there. It was kind of like it's a longer story. But I
mm,
mean, I remember like meeting him at Johnny Brenda's after his show. I was like, hey, dude, we have a mutual friend. His name's Dylan Chivetti from Human Robot. And before I can even finish the sentence, he's like, Billy Z, how you doing, dude?
that's
And you
cool.
would never guess that like a year later, him and I would tour together.
That's cool.
And like cause like we were catching up and I was like, yeah, I've been really wanting to get into tour managing, like to make a longer story short. And he's like, hey, I am looking for a tour manager if you want to get lunch and talk about it.
That's
It's
cool.
yeah. You never really know what could happen. You just have to keep yourself open. You have to keep yourself hungry, and you have to keep yourself just like going for the things that you want. And if it's a little different, then it's so be it. But it might open you up to a whole different world, especially if it's not playing out. I mean, there's so many people that you and I both know that don't really play out anymore, but they found different ways of music. And sometimes,
Yeah,
like, dude, I see people who work as booking agents, and they just stay as booking agents. They just work, at their laptop and do whatever. And like, the whole show is happening and that's their role.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think being the eyes on the outside of you guys. I've watched you guys since you started,
Yeah, which is crazy to think, dude.
and I would say like I think one of the two defining things that I saw and was like, this is going to change the band. Well, the first one I didn't think anything of it was when the second guitarist left. We don't need to say his name. Um, it forced Tristan to become way tighter with you guys with the band.
Yeah.
Like, you know what it did? It was the other guy's guitars were always out of tune. What it did was it really forced Tristan to really like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm playing in the band and I'm the only guitarist. It really made him up his level, and he did.
Yeah.
He like his guitar playing became, it was just like he really leveled up. And then when you guys added Chris, I
I
laughed.
remember this is going.
I laughed and I was like, why the hell was Chris not in this band to begin with?
Yeah.
And then when I saw Chris with you guys, I was like, this is a band you were meant to be in, dude. Like, it was just like,
Yeah.
it was just having Chris was in Awaking Mercury for like a couple months, and like it's you guys just are all of the styles of music that he loves. It made me smile because I was like, that's great for Chris. He's got it's perfect.
I remember we were playing Siren Records, and like I think you were at that show. I remember Tristan was like, "Yo, who wants to hear new demos?" And like Chris would go, "I'm in," and like hopped in like Tristan's car. It was like Tristan, Nick, and Chris, and they just like drove around Doylestown listening to like the Hal Blue demo. And he's like, "Damn, man, this is like music I've always wanted to play." And they both turned to him like, "Do you want to?"
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I heard he joined the band, I was like, "Why?
Yeah.
Why did I think of that?"
Chris is gear man central. Like he even I look into pedals for myself now because of Chris. Like freaking yeah, dude, Chris really upped the equipment game and the effects game and just everything about like sounding good.
Dude,
I think our whole band like our band took a whole different direction with him joining and just like
I know you did. I watched the gear change.
You watch Tristan go from a single whatever pedal was in like some box and a tuner to a full pedal board now.
Yeah.
You seen it?
Yeah,
God, those days.
I knew when you guys said Chris was joining the band, like I knew that was going to be a huge driving turning point for you guys.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And like, yeah, he's such a good musician.
He is, dude. He's one of the best, if not the best. Like, he's very versatile. He's done so many different styles, and he's constantly upping his game. Like, I think that's one thing. Like, I even had to like take notes from him. It was like constantly upping my own game too, because like you and I both know this, man. But like I said earlier, booking is a full-time job, and I think I got to a point in like the band's career where it's just like I'm constantly doing the emailing and everything else, but I'm not getting better at singing, And I was something like the guys that had talked to me about, especially Chris, and like that I needed to improve on there, like, which is a hard thing to kind of do because you're like, wait, I know what it is to get on these shows and to do this thing and to make this happen. But then I was also like not listening to my ego and being able to be like, I can be a better singer and, also have better banter. And Trey Todd, if you're watching this, every time you come to an Amora show, I'm always stoked. Why? Because I'm like, I'm going to do my best banter and he's going to love it. He's going to like after a party one time, a long time ago, I think Trey told me or Brian, one of the two, he's like, yo, Billy's got to get so much better at banter. Dude, I have been on my banter game so much.
I think I remember him saying
Trey
that.
Todd, when you're here, man, I'm giving you it all. I'm giving you my best.
He was great when he was drumming for Broseph.
Yeah.
He would always harass, usually Kevin, but like always someone in the crowd.
Yeah, dude, Trey's great. And I also learn, like, among all of that, and, I'm not trying to bring this on myself because I know we're talking about Chris, but, like, from Chris, from Trey, feedback is so important. Feedback is so freaking important, and I used to take it so horribly, and I realized that feedback is the only way you can grow. You gotta just, like, take it. You gotta step out of the comfort zone. You gotta make mistakes. You gotta hear. You gotta learn. And you just gotta be better and better and better and better. And people like Trey, people like Chris, like our whole band is like very much like, how can we be better? And I think that's like really awesome because like, especially when you're talking about us being like younger, we weren't thinking of that. We were just trying to play shows and we were just having a fun time and stuff. And like, as you get older and as you start putting yourself around like others, like you see what it takes to sound good, to be good, to have people walk away and be like, that band kicked ass.
Yeah Man. It also like, and that's I didn't want to interrupt when you were talking earlier, but when you're in a band, you're in at least a 4-way relationship with, like, dude, it's like, it's not romantic or sexual, but like it's
tension.
It's like it's all the fights that you'd have with a girlfriend. Like, it's
chemistry.
Yeah, dude, it's
Like being in a polyamorous, like, like love, not a triangle, but however many sides, corners,
yeah,
shapes, something. I lost the joke, but
dude,
it's like being in a big group like that, man.
yeah.
Everybody's got different personalities. You gotta really manage that.
I know, man. Our bass player, everybody's like, he likes to date red flags. People are always asking me like, why don't you say? I'm like, Sam and I only talk about music. I was like, he brought up the girls a couple times with me, and I always gave it to him like real straight. Where he's
Yeah.
like, well, I like her. I'm like, have fun with that, bud. Like it's just like, uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's definitely a. The older I get, that's the funny. That's why when I'm so impressed when I see like you've added Chris, but it's all the original members. It's just
Yeah.
it's cool because it provides a whole lot of. I think for me, like I really miss the group I had originally, Dylan and Eli.
Yeah, dude, that was an all-star group.
They were just really good dudes. And again, like Dylan didn't want to be a rock star. Like
Yeah.
Dylan
and
doesn't want
that's
to deal with
that's okay.
people. He's doing what he's living on a boat now. He's literally runs a tugboat. He sends me
awesome.
videos up and down the East Coast. He's loving it. That's what he wanted.
That's what he wants to do, yeah.
But like I do miss that group, and like we were together for a long time, and the longer we were together, it was like you start having that relationship not only like as people but musically.
Yeah.
And you start like writing or you start jamming, like it gets really cool the longer you're working with people. So like
Yeah.
it's like I don't do you guys just do jam sessions to work on new stuff? Like how do you guys or is it more like I
mean,
have this piece
there's
or
so many different ways, dude. Not one song is wrote the same. I mean,
Okay.
we still like get together in a room and jam.
right.
I know, like, a lot of the times, like, the guys will kind of, like, work on stuff, like, on their own, and then, like, they'll kind of, they'll bring it in, and then we'll kind of see what we can do with it. I always say it's, like, a song kind of starts like this, and then you start, like, hammering it down to what it actually is.
Right.
So we still do jam sessions, like, we still hang out, and obviously things been a little different just because, like, I mean, dude, this recently, like, we did all those shows, like, Chris goes on tour with Wonder Years, I go on tour with Asher, so we kind of put a pause on things. We're all getting together later today, too, to, like, hang out and just, like, not even practice, but, like, just go to a diner and just, like, hang. But, like, that's another thing, too. So I think, like, we realize, like, dude, sometimes some bands, the only time they ever hang out is when they're, like, practicing. And we're all friends before we are bandmates.
Yeah.
And we realize, we haven't hung out in a minute. And sometimes, like, I don't think playing is the most important thing that you can do. I think if you're a good player, like, yeah, it's cool. But, like, you should have good, chemistry if your group. You should be, like, getting together. You should be talking. You should be, like, focusing on, like, all right, like, what's next? What do you want to do? What do we want to figure out? Because, Chris is going on tour later this year. I might be going on tour later this year. Like, and, like, the band's trying to go on tour later this year. So, like, there's a lot of planning that we got to do and talk, but also got to just see each other and hang out and ask how we're all doing and not just, like, make it band only. We got to just... We're all normal people that just happen to be a group of best friends that also write music.
And it's only gonna get harder the older you get. None of you guys have kids yet.
I know, dude. Yeah, and like it's funny because like we're all like late 20s, early 30s right now, and I still feel like we're younger than most of our counterparts. We've been doing this for so long. Like,
dude, I'm no longer the oldest person in the band.
Really?
The bassist is the youngest, but he's like 29. But like everybody else is older than me.
Yeah.
And it is a really good dynamic because it's like there's a lot less drama. There's it's all just older. Like guitarist is married. Our drummer's like, when he told me his age, I didn't believe him. He's like 58.
Wow.
And he's definitely one of the best drummers I played with. He's really good.
And dude, if he's 58 and he doesn't look 58, good for him.
Black don't crack, man. Black don't crack.
Yeah.
He told me he was 58. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, I got 3 kids and like 4 grandkids. I was like, what? But yeah, it's the longer you guys are together, the more I want to say you'll enjoy it even more. That's just like my little like thing to you is just like it's really cool that you guys have all original members and like just feed on that. That's it.
Yeah.
That's really, it's a really cool piece to have, and there's a lot you can do with
There,
that.
there's some times where we play shows where like me and Brian will look at each other like when we used to play Gallows Run, we had this in sync like snare and floor punch thing we always did.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we don't really play that song anymore, but there's times where like him and I are just looking at each other when we're playing, and we're just having the craziest faces on there. Like I can't get that with another drummer,
Right? Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
like I just can't. Want to be the same.
Yeah.
You know, or like Chris has been doing this new thing where he likes tackling me on stage.
That's funny.
Like he did it at the Foundry, and like I remember, I forget why he started doing it because he did it like one day as a joke, and like because there's like this viral video going around of like when you're sick of your lead singer, and it's like the bass player of like a hardcore band like beating the shit out of his singer while like they're playing, and he started doing that, and except like it didn't go wrong. It may have went wrong at the Foundry, but he hit me with his guitar on accident.
Oh shit!
Which isn't the first time I've been hit by a guitar in the face, but you know, it's like I remember being like everybody's applauding. Like we just finished we covered One Arm Scissor by At the Drive-In, and like there's actually a video of it online. If you
At the Drive-In, I was actually gonna say you guys remind me of At the Drive-In.
Yeah, dude. Yo, freaking! I had to learn like homie's like parts and whatever his Cedric, right? I don't know. Yo, the guy's got the craziest fucking vocal delivery on top of the craziest fucking lyrics I've ever heard. Like, I'm like watching back that video. I'm like, I oddly did this right, but it sounds so weird.
They are a very unique band, yeah.
Yeah, and also we played in like Chris like, yo, who knows how to drive? And we got crickets. We're like, all right, here goes nothing. But like people loved it. People were applauding, and it was funny because like as soon as the song's over and as soon as people were applauding, I'm just like, bro, I think you gave me like a lump on my head. Like we're just like having a conversation, like while people are applauding, and I just thought that was like hilarious because like you know what band does that?
Do you still do the trash can?
Wait, what's that?
Do you still do the trash can in the crowd?
No.
Riding? No.
Why did I stop doing that?
Probably because I was there that one time when they held you underneath it.
Yeah. Dude, you remember that because I think I was at Connections High. Like, yeah, dude, that was actually like fucking frightening, and I hated that.
Yeah, I was like, guys, let's.
Yeah,
I was like,
no one can hear you scream.
No one
can hear you scream. No one. Like, I'm screaming in that thing, and like, I'm not even playing this show, dude. I'm not.
Right.
I'm literally like trying to get this off. I'm getting claustrophobic. It sucked. And I stopped doing that. There was a point, I forget when, but I had this point where I was like, I should probably focus, because like a lot of the bands I grew up listening to were like The Chariot, Let Live, and like bands would go absolutely like bonkers live, and like I was focusing more on if I went bonkers live than if I was actually nailing the songs. Like in my mind, I was the Eric Andre show,
Right.
like
yeah.
But at some point, I was like, I need to actually nail the songs, and I don't want to just be known as the trash can guy. I want to like actually be, to nail it.
Right.
That's not to say it's never gonna happen again. Who knows?
Right.
But I might save it for occasion or two. But like also, I don't know. It was cool. It did its time, but at some point you gotta. That was a little subtle sign of growing up, and now people know us for our music, and not this kid Krauser's in a goddamn trash can.
Yeah.
Giving venue owners a scare.
I'm sure they did freak out. I can imagine they would freak out.
Yeah, I mean, it was dope.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, cause like I was like, all right, I remember playing a show. I'm like, all right, I need to do something because this crowd is not loving us right now. What do I do? And I got in a trash can, and it just became a thing. It just did. I thought it was like fucking dope, and then it just did it every show. Dude, every time we would like open with like Good Night until like Father, I just like literally Eric Andre shows in my mind, just like how dumb can I be right now. And then like when I would do like the some of our early shows, I would just like heavy breathe after like Father, like when I should be talking, and I was just because of the Eric Andre show when he gets in the seat, he's like he's just like that. I don't know, but I also realized like this also is because I can't breathe right now. So yeah, no trash cans for Big Bill anymore. Maybe one day if we ever do like a final show, maybe I'll like do the greatest trash can concert I'll ever do. But I don't know, we'll see.
Got to bring it back, man. You got to bring it back.
Yeah.
Should bring it back when you
Only-
guys play like Warped Tour. Like bring it back at like a big festival or something.
Yeah, when there's like a million cameras on you, and
Yeah.
all the day ones would be like, "Oh, he's doing it." He's
And then
doing
everybody
it.
be like,
He's
"Oh my
doing it
god, he
again."
did it! We saw him do that."
Yeah. Oh, dude, if you're playing War Tour and I got in a trash can crowd surf, that'd be like, oh, fuck. Man, all right, you know what? That might you put an idea in my head.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
we do something like that. Yeah, it could work.
Yeah, I think just bring it. You just got to bring it back at like a big show.
Yeah,
Just have security next to you, like just you'll be fine.
dude. No, you know what I gotta do? I gotta put it in our rider that this will happen, so they sign off on it because like
Yeah,
I seen contract. I can't say who because I would break a lot of I would break a lot of NDAs, but
yeah,
there's people who they can smoke on stage, like they can smoke cigarettes on stage and you can't stop them, or like this crazy thing will happen and you can't stop it if it's or like you're like, oh, why can rappers drink bottles of Jameson on stage and smoke weed and I can't do that? It's
Right.
because it's in their contract.
Right.
And in order for them to play the show, it needs to be signed off on. And if it's not signed off on, the venue's not making money. So it's like, all right, do we let this slide and make money, or do we not let this slide and lose money? So
the business side of it.
yeah, the contract is your band's best friend, is to just say, yeah, our vocalist is going to get into a trash can and crowd surf on your audience, and there's going to be all this crazy stuff, and you can't do nothing about it.
Yeah.
And if you do, we want $1,500 because you broke the agreement.
Right.
All
right, so for the ending segment, I want you to kind of tell us what you want people to hear about you that haven't heard you, people that are fans. And then also after that, I want you to recommend 3 different local bands for people to check out. But
ooh, okay. All right, let's go. We put out an acoustic video with Lily of doing Harrigan's at Fred's house, and the video did good. But we actually Fred remixed and remastered the audio, and we're gonna be dropping that as a little bonus track for the EP on the 26th. So depending on when this airs, it's either going to be right before it or right after it. So if you're hearing this, you're either about to listen to it or you have listened to it. Planning a little bit of a hometown banger for August, kind of like a release show, kind of like we just haven't played in our area in like a long time. We've been playing a lot of like Philly and playing a lot of like out of state and stuff like that. So it'd be cool to like do something. It's going to be at Nomad Supply. It's going to be in August. It's a small room too, so
shoot me that date if depending on what the sound guy has, maybe I can live stream it on the channel.
That'd be cool. Yeah. That room packs out with like 50 people. So if you're hearing this, get to the show.
Yeah.
Trying to think of anything else. It's just figuring out what's next, what we want to do. Navigating new schedules, navigating new life, and just navigating. That's what I would say would be next.
Nice.
Yeah. And then 3
local bands that you think people absolutely should listen to.
I will always say Kawanashi. I think they're just the best Philly band ever. I'm so proud of them. I've watched that band grow from literally just being the smallest band, and now they're like really just picking up steam. That's one band that will always give it back to when they've given so many bands a chance, and I will always rep Kawanashi whenever I go, and their new record is awesome. So listen to Kawanashi.
I've been hearing their name from people in the scene for a decade at least.
Yeah. Dude, I remember I saw them when Varials and Hysterian did like the May 9th show. They opened.
Okay.
And I heard vaguely about them.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I saw them, like only like 5 people knew who they were, and I was like, "Yo, this band is insane." And obviously over time, dude, I've watched their journey just from like that point to every single thing they've done, and they've just got better and better. And I think they have the right lineup now. I think actually, I don't want to say that. I'm not saying my friend August was in the band, and now he left the band. Now he's in Safe Face, and that's not on him because I love August. Like, but you know, for the lineup compared to like when they were like first a band, you know, because it's a very like half the lineup's different. But I think
Sure.
over time they found the right people for
Right.
that line. Like, you know, there's how we were talking about where like a band doesn't change members, which is really cool. But at the same time, there's also something when the band finds the right members. So.
There, yeah,
And
that happens too.
That's, you know, because I remember them meeting their drummer Peo and like that whole thing. That's a whole other story. But like, you know, I do remember all of that happening, and I'm very proud of the band. Everything they do is something I'm very proud of with them, and I will ride for them ever. Not too local, but en masse. I mean, some of them, I think.
End mass.
En masse, like ENMASSE. It's.
Okay.
I'm not going to try to say what I think the origin of like that phrase is, but.
Okay.
They're amazing. Jari, their guitar player, was in Caster's Hollow, and like, you know, like, so when En Masse like came into place, like, I mean, some of them are from Connecticut, some of them are from like here, and like they just sound like, I hate to say Deftones and Glassjaw, but Deftones and Glassjaw, I hate to say it because like, dude. Oh man, like this Revolver article came out about them, and like it was like, you know, listen to En Masse channel, like Glassjaw and like Deftones, and like they got a few comments talking trash about that, you know.
Gotcha.
And I'm like, I hate, but they sound like them, you know, dude. They're so talented and they're so good, and like we just did a run with them and like just watch them every day. I was like, dude, this band like just crept under the radar, and like they sound so good, and I have a feeling they're gonna like do some cool shit. So En Masse is another one. I'm trying to think of like any bands that are from like around. I think of any bands around. It's like funny, dude. Like a lot of the bands now around us are like younger bands we haven't discovered yet, or like, you know,
Big
it's not our friends' bands.
Big
like,
Handsome from Quakertown.
Wait, what's that?
Big Handsome from Quakertown.
Oh, Big Handsome rocks, dude.
They're so good.
You know, it's funny. I don't think They always played around guys, and like I never really got to see them, you know, or like I never really got to like know them because they would always play like, you know, different promoters. And I remember they were the first band I ever booked at Sellersville Theater. And it was funny because like when I got when I was given the ability to book support bands, my boss came to me and was like, hey, do you know this band? They want to open for like King's X. And I saw the email. I'm like, oh yeah. Yeah. And I was able to give them the spot. No question.
Yeah.
And
I heard about that and I was like, that's the perfect band to open for them.
Yeah. But also it's like what I thought was funny because I was reading the notes from that day. They definitely were nervous because like, dude, they're all 19 and like, the show sold out. I think it was 2 shows too. So like, you know, they're just like, okay, here we are.
Hell yeah.
You know? Yeah. So you know what? Give them a shout out. So Big Handsome, Kaonashi, and En Masse. I think those are like my top 3 from like somewhat this area that I would say kicking ass right now.
Hell yeah, man. Well, thank you for coming on, dude.
Dude, thank you for having me, man. I haven't done a podcast in a minute, so this is very fun.
This is I was worried about doing this setup just because it's a little better, you know, in person. But these are good.
Yeah.
Pandemic taught us how to do these.
Yeah, dude. I've done a million of these like in the pandemic. Like it's all cool. I don't mind the setup at all. So I'm glad you're able to work it out. Plus, it worked easier for my shit because I'm off today and I need to stay home and just like finish unpacking before I go meet up with the guys later. You know.
I get it, man.
Yeah.
Well, tell the dudes I said hi and let me know about that August date.
Yeah,
I'd love
it's the 16th. We just been running into a few scheduling conflicts, but I think we nailed it.
All right.
Will Hinkle was booking a show for the same day, so I had to like work out things with him. So like I think he's moving his show back a day, and then I can do, you know, remember doing our show. So
cool.